Hey, welcome back. Our next step here is the application of this Cork insulating paint. I use the term paint a little loosely, but I've never used it before. We're going to give this a try. Now this stuff I ordered late in the summer. And we ordered it with a special color, in a special color. So it took a little longer to get here than I was expecting. And it actually arrived as the weather had turned cold, so I wasn't able to apply it. So now we're into a string of some nicer weather. We're going to give this a shot. The official unwrapping here. Oh, it's very exciting. So it appears that this was a cover to go over what the contents of the pail, but it has slipped off. There's only about half of the content of the pail in, like it's only filled half full, so I'm a little surprised about that, but let's whip it up with some stirring and see what that does to it. I'm just going to try and knock all of this stuff back into the pail. So I have a little bracket on the end of a threaded rod that I've twisted to make a little propeller that we'll put in here and stir it up. Bring you over a little closer so you can see what this is looking like. It's a bird's eye view. So this is kind of looking very much like we call it porridge, Red River cereal. If you're Canadian, you might know what that is. But I'm just going to continue whipping this up quite a bit. It needs to be stirred quite a lot. Gonna get a paintbrush and we're gonna put a little bit of this on, see what it does. All right, I have a brush in hand. I'm gonna take out the drill and the stirrer because I expect I'll want to stir this up as it's being applied, just to make sure that the contents of this is constantly agitated. And by the way, the pail, though it is only half full, it is 10 kilograms. That's what I paid for, that's what I got. So hopefully this will do our bowler. It's supposed to, I'm hopefully getting 2 coats out of it. Let's go see what it does on the bowler itself. The question is always, where do you start? So I'm going to start on the inside of this closet. In my mind I was thinking to start with the ceiling, but for the first application of this, I want to see what it does. So go someplace less conspicuous. And I am just doing the outside walls. This goes on very nicely, actually. With the brush, it's just a very thick paint. I think the trick is you don't want to put it on too thin, which, being a thrifty kind of painter, that's what I would normally do. I'm very pleased with how that's going on. And even the finish is looking reasonably good. So quite happy with that. So I'm going to change tactics now and start working on the ceiling. So I'll do the entire ceiling and then work down the walls. But we'll start with the far side and just work our way down the ceiling. And I'll probably have you off camera for most of that because it's painting. It's a little bit hard to tell because it's a little dark in here and I'm white on white. But I'm about halfway through the ceiling and quite pleased with how this cork paint is layering on top of the fiberglass. You can see here on raw fiberglass, the fibers are very visible through this paint. But when you get over here, you can see it's a lot more, you're getting more of a textured feel to it. So this is coat 1. Coat 2 will just completely hide those strands entirely. So yeah, quite pleased with how this is coming along. And I can see where it's just slightly darker at the back here as it dries. So good so far. So I'm going to take the pail now, stir it up again with the drill, just to make sure that all of the cork stuff is continuing to be evenly distributed through the pail, and we'll carry on. It is on, and it has kind of evened up the tone all through the whole trailer, which is nice. You can see it's a little bit darker up on the top. As I come around here, you can start to see a more splotchy. This stuff hasn't quite dried yet, and this is freshly on. So as it dries, it darkens just a little wee bit. But overall, I'm pleased that it's an even look throughout. So that's the first coat, used about half of the material. So when I come back to do the second coat, I'm going to start on the ceiling again and work down. I figure if I run out, I would rather run out on the lower portions here than up here on the top portion where it is more likely to be sweat. So after that's dried up, I'll come back and do the second coat. So I'm now working on the second coat. I've got the ceiling done and down to the tops of the windows. So I'm now just going through here, but I thought I haven't spent a lot of time showing you how this stuff gets applied. So when I get a batch on my brush, you can see it is kind of pasty. Not quite drywall compound, but a little runny drywall compound, I guess, might be a good comparison. So that amount will probably do a square about this big. So it doesn't cover an awful lot, but again, I'm trying to get it on a little bit thicker on this second coat. What I do observe as I put this on, the first coat did some very good coverage, but you can still see the fiberglass strands. But the second coat just completely eliminates them, which tells me that there is thickness to this material. And hence I'm comfortable that we're going to get some insulating qualities out of it. We'll see how well it insulates, but the primary purpose of this is not for R20 heat insulation, but primarily to stop any moisture buildup. In terms of technique, what I'm doing is trying to do sections at a time. So when I did the ceiling, I did one side of the ceiling, the center of the ceiling. Then I came down from where I was on the ceiling to about the tops of the windows. Then I'm going from the tops of the windows down to the belt line. So I'll do that section, and then I'll come around and do from the belt line down last. It's nice at least that the first coat dries a little bit beige, so I can see where I have or have not painted the second coat. Going to pause here and bring you in for a close-up to show you what I mean by the fiberglass strands disappearing. So here on this section, I might have to zoom in a little bit, but you can see fiberglass where the strands of the fiberglass are woven together, covered certainly by the first coat. But if I come over here, none of that is visible. All you get are the texture of the brush. So I'm really pleased with how that's changing the interior look of the space. Anyway, I'm going to carry on with the painting of this, and I'll come back when I'm done. Okay, painting is now complete. I just finished this last little section here, so that's why it's a little bit later. But that went all the way around, and the 10 kilograms of this Cork paint was just enough. There's about a ½ an inch left in the bottom of this pail, so it's enough certainly for touch-ups and a little bit of work, but that was just enough. Alrighty, I'll call that a video. That was putting on this Mediterranean, the Cork Mediterraneo by Dyson. I got this from the distributor based out of Regina, Saskatchewan. They were very helpful. The product actually is made in Italy and brought in from Italy. But very happy with how it goes on. It just brushes on really nicely. So, thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. I'll see you on the next one.